morning, everybody. My name is Josiah. That's Joel. We're on week 2 of We Shall Overcome. It's going to be called Through Many Dangers, Toils, and Snares. The scriptures we're going to be working out of are Exodus chapter 4, 29, verses chapter 5, verse 1, and then chapter 6, verses 1 through 8. First thing, those of you who don't know me, never heard me speak before, what I like to do is I'm going to read all the scriptures at the beginning. It's going to be a struggle bus, not going to lie. I'm just not good at reading, you know. But then the real reason I want to do this is because then I'm going to explain some history. I'm going to connect it to how you live today. And I just want you to learn something. I want you to question things. It may not be today during the service. It may not be at the end of service. It may not even be today, really. It might be on your drive to work, on your drive home from work, when you're hanging out with your kids, when you're watching a new Netflix movie or whatever. I just want you to question things. So, hopefully I get that. If I don't, I apologize. So, let's jump in. Chapter 4, verse 29 through chapter 5, verse 1. Bear with me. Moses and Aaron brought together all the elders of the Israelites, and Aaron told them everything the Lord had said to Moses. He also performed the signs before the people, and they believed. And when they heard that the Lord was concerned about them and had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshipped. Afterward, Moses and Aaron went to Pharaoh and said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, let my people go, so that they may hold a festival to me in the wilderness." That was the short one. Here's the long one, chapter 6. Then the Lord said to Moses, "Now you will see what I will do to Pharaoh. Because of my mighty hand, he will let them go. Because of my mighty hand, he will drive them out of his country." God also said to Moses, "I am the Lord. I appeared to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob as God Almighty. But by my name, the Lord, I did not make myself known to them. I also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, where they resided as foreigners. Moreover, I have heard the groaning of the Israelites, whom the Egyptians are enslaving, and I have remembered my covenant. Therefore, say to the Israelites, I am the Lord, and I will bring you from and under the yoke of the Egyptians. I will free you from the slaves to them, and I will redeem you with an outstretched arm and the mighty acts of judgment. I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God, who brought you out from under the yoke of the Egyptians, and I will bring you to the land I swore an uplifted hand to give you to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. I will give it to you as a possession. I am the Lord." So that's all the reading part. Thank you for listening. So the story of Moses. I want to explain the story of Moses, even though it's a staple in children's church. You've probably seen a movie. There are probably vegetables. But here's the story of Moses. The story of Moses is pretty simple. The Pharaoh thinks he is the son of God. He has been put here by God to rule over all these people. He enslaves the Israelites, making them work countless days for countless hours, hiking far off to get the supplies that they need to build bricks so that he can build their empire, right? God, in true God fashion, picks a man named Moses, who, when he tells him his job, he's like, "Not me, man, you know?" And Moses is like, "I'm not really good at speaking in front of people. I'm not really good at explaining stuff. I kind of get cold feet." So then God sends Aaron. God talks to Moses. Aaron listens to Moses interpret it. Aaron talks to the Pharaoh. And then you guys know the rest. There's the part when they show up. Moses throws a stick down. It turns into a snake. He picks it back up. And Pharaoh's like, "Nah." And then they come back. And there's like some locusts. And there's some frogs. And there's a river of blood. And then God kills all the firstborns of the people who do not put the blood on their door. And then Pharaoh's kind of done with all of that. So he sends all the Israelites away. God delivers the Israelites towards the promised land. So then the Israelites are running. The Egyptians are chasing. The Red Sea opens up. We've all probably colored a picture of that in children's church too. They make it to the other side. God closes the river, kills a bunch of the Egyptians. The Israelites are free. They've been delivered. They're on their way to the promised land. And they're like, thank you, God. You are so amazing. I love you so much. And that mentality lasts about a day. And then they're wandering around and they're like, all right, God's not really delivering us. I'm kind of done with all of this. We're going to start worshiping other gods. We're going to start building different idols and everything. So God's like, too easy. All I do is look out for you. You can wander the desert for 40 years. So they do. And then they make it, right? They make it to the promised land. And God says, all right, Moses, this is all you got to do. Talk to this rock. It'll deliver all the water to your people. And that's it. But Moses, being human, smacks the rock because he's angry. So then God's like, all right, all the rest of you get to go in there. Moses, you got to stay out here. So then now all the people are in the promised land. And again, they're like, we did it. We made it to the promised land. And that mentality lasts about a day. And then they start worshiping other people. They start running into the Babylonians. They start having problems where at the epicenter of where they live, they start making all the wrong decisions. They start lying, cheating, and stealing. They start doing all the wrong stuff. On the outskirts, they're fighting wars to keep the promised land. And those people are like, well, maybe these other people, they got some stuff figured out. How about we worship their gods? How about we, build their false idols and stuff like that? So they end up doing all kinds of wrongs. And they do this for countless years. I mean, the first half of this book right here is all about them being delivered, them not believing anymore, and then a bunch of people having to be like, hey, you're doing this wrong, and then they get back on track, and then they're like, all right, we're going to start doing it wrong again. So then someone else has to come along and say, hey, you got to get back on track. It's constantly veering off the path, getting back on the path, veering off the path, constantly getting back on the path. That's what this whole book is about. Spoiler alert or whatever. So then we run into that. And then fast forward to the New Testament. Jesus is born. The Romans are in charge. And spoiler alert, they also believe that God has sent them. They also have their set of gods. They think that they need to be in charge of everybody, like the Pharaoh and stuff like that. So they find out that there's this new guy coming. Jesus Christ is going to be born. So they also just start killing people left and right. The firstborns, ages 0 to 3, all those kids start dying because they don't want this to happen. This causes a lot of people to go into hiding. This causes a lot of people to kind of turn away. People are being mocked. Later, Jesus grows up, right? We've all heard this story too. And he has to build a team of 12 dudes who aren't even first round draft picks. They're third string guys. They're the JV troops. I mean, more of he picked 12 of us to figure it out. And we're just oh, okay, let's do this. And then because everything's getting so oppressed, they start, building this following of bad people, tax collectors and prostitutes and people who don't make the cut for other things. And it's this following of dirty, non-loving sinners. That's us. And if you look at our lineage, it is messed up. I mean, if you start reading this book a little bit, it's not good for us. We're always wrong. We're always going the wrong direction. God does these amazing things for us. He delivers us. And then we're like, thanks, man. And then we go do a bunch of wrong stuff. It's like a little kid that you don't really punish. You just kind of say hey, that was wrong. And then they're like, okay. And then they just start doing it again. And it continues today. Thousands of years later, the world still doesn't really like us. There's places in the world that will simply kill you for being a Christian. There's places in the world where if someone finds out you're a Christian, they're going to hunt you down and make an example of you. Some places, they're thrown off buildings, put in cages, lit on fire. There's places where you can't even practice this religion. You can't even have Bibles. I mean, most of us have a Bible or several on a bookshelf somewhere in our house, or we have several apps on our phone. Even in places where we're allowed to practice these things, we're almost like mocked and looked down upon. I mean, I know I've run into this problem before. It's like, hey, Josiah, what do you do? It's like, oh, well, I train a lot of jujitsu. I do stuff for the army. And it's like, but my dad has a church, and I like to help him out with stuff. And it's like, oh, your dad has a church? You're like one of them weirdos. It's like, what? We were friends 5 minutes ago. Then I told you a little bit about myself, and all of a sudden I'm a weirdo? You know, and there's countless times where we just have to take that. We just got to be looked down upon, read the memes, and just be like, yep, I guess that's what it is. The crazy thing, though, is that we have to deal with that while we're dealing with our own stuff. There's a lot of people in this room that are just trying to be good fathers, trying to be good brothers, trying to be good sons, ultimately just trying to be good men. There's a lot of other you that are just trying to be good mothers, good sisters, good daughters. Ultimately, you're just trying to be good women. A lot of us are just trying to figure out how to be an adult. Figure out how all that works. Up until now, they just told me what to do. When I graduated high school, it went something like this. You did it. Just don't come back here anymore. It's like, really? If this was a normal job, I'd be the manager. But we're just trying to be good adults. We're trying to build good families. Since I was a senior in high school and I had to take government and I realized I was going to join the army, a lot of us have been trying to figure out this whole political thing. What's right? What's wrong? What's the talking points? What am I supposed to say? A lot of us have been trying to figure out this whole worldwide pandemic thing. What's really bad? What are the statistics? Mask, no mask, vaccination, no vaccination. A lot of us are trying to live prosperous lives as Christians. We're trying to live what Jesus told us to do. Give off the fruits of the spirits. Set good examples for my Christian brothers and sisters, so that when someone else runs into a Christian, they're not like, oh, I met this one guy and he was a real jerk. And ultimately, we're just trying to figure out how to live this life, which is the weirdest thing in the world I've ever been a part of, because it's nothing like the board game. It's hard living in this world. One of the things, like earlier I gave some examples, right? People are killed, people are hunted down, people are lit on fire, people are done these horrible things, right? But here, we're dealing with issues. I think the worst thing that humanity has ever done is invent this. I hate this thing, man, because I'm an addict. Social media, worst thing ever. I hate it so much. Not only do I feel like I'm having a bad day, and I'm like, oh, I just hop on the gram. It's like, oh, everyone else is having a great day. Everyone else is having the highlight of their life. And it's like, in reality, we're all just struggling and falling and slipping, and then we just get like a solid picture. And then we're like, that's the one. #poetic. And we're just going through life. And with this thing, because of social media, there's a lot of us who are struggling with depression. When I was over in Poland, there were countless times I was talking to soldiers who are like, I just don't get it anymore. I just can't figure it out. And I'm like, hey, man, I get it. I've been alone too. I'm here for you, though. Probably stay off your phone a little bit longer. Now, God has delivered us, always will deliver us. He's made countless promises to us. So when you're feeling alone, he hears your cries. He sees you when you're alone. This book is full of struggles. And I've read most of them, kind of Game of Thrones-esque, but there's still struggles. Now we're going through different struggles, but we continue to go through struggles. So don't minimize your struggles because it's not the same. You're still going through something. God hears your cries. God knows that you're at the end of your rope, and he's going to deliver us. But we got to stop with all this hate, all this division. Look, man, I don't care what side you're on. I love you. I'll give you a hug. With everything I've listed up until now, I don't care if you're blue or red. You're my brother. You're my sister. And we're in this together. It doesn't matter who's brainwashed you or whatever. I don't care. I don't get brainwashed because I'm just not smart enough, I was like, you were talking? Oh, God. But I'm in it with you guys, and I'm here to struggle with you. I learned in the Army to toe the line, and no matter who's next to me, no matter what they believe, no matter what color they are, that me and them are going to bleed the same. And 100% of the time, I'm going to make sure that they get home. And with you, I'm going to make sure that you get to wherever you want to go. Because I love you so much. God's going to deliver us. But for now, we need to stop the hate. I love you guys. That's all I got prepared. I'm going to pray really quick so that these people who are more talented than I can play instruments. So you can bow your heads or whatever, however you pray. Ready? Dear Lord, thank you for this day. Thank you for all these wonderful people in this room. They are truly amazing. And whatever struggles they're going through, let them know that you're here with them. That you hear their cries. That you see them when they feel alone. That you know that they're at the end of the rope and that the rest of us are going to be there to catch them. Let them know that you have always delivered us and you always will deliver us. I love you so much. In your name I pray. Amen.